At the top of the hour, following Midweek with Max, we have a couple folks from Hemi Alliance coming on to discuss some next steps and other stuff. And then we have lots of questions and hopefully exciting updates. I kind of want to form the questions this week like it was Jeopardy. But
take a win TGE for 600.
Yeah, basically, like something people have been asking when for.
Yeah, there you go. I couldn't think of the joke in time.
Presumably eternity. What is TGE?
It's like a win for 2,000.
Oh man, that would be. We should do that. We should do Heavy Jeopardy. That would be wicked fun.
That would be funny.
Do I sound normal? It's been like 2 weeks, but I still feel like I'm like congested.
You sound pretty normal. Well, like slight hint of a head cold, but you sound a lot healthier than last week.
Well, that's good. I feel a lot better from the last couple of weeks. That was like a biblical plague.
Quite the sickness.
It's been a ride, bud. It's been quite the ride. We got
Glad you're feeling better. That's.
Thank you. Oh boy, you're not at Permissionless, are
you? Nope. Yeah, too much to get done. Might go to ECC or when is it? Late next or early week after next week. I don't know schedules anymore.
Right.
Yeah. But not in Permissionless.
My alarm reminded me it was Tuesday because I thought it was Monday all day, even though I just lived through Monday yesterday. So that's fun.
Like that. What's that movie, Groundhog Day?
Yeah, I got a lot of that going on. Oh my God. I'll try to mute as much as possible. My neighbor, for some reason, has one of these industrial lawnmowers, like the type you would mow a football field with, and he mows his lawn every day. And it's a small lawn. It's like, what are you trying to prove here? Is it a flex? Like, what are you doing, man? It's 103 degrees out. Go inside.
That's like 80-something in Florida, and I'm staying inside until like 8 p.m.
That's scary that it's hotter here than Florida.
Oh, it's nuts.
I don't like that. There's nothing about that I like. All right. Uno momento, and then we can get rolling. Oh, I gotta find the questions. Up, down. Yeah, Ronaldo, do you need a hug or something? What the hell's going on here? Get out of here. You can't post that. I'm muting you. How the hell do I mute him? There we go. We'll leave the U because it's funnier. All right. We're at 5 past. Let me get this going. All right. Welcome to another session of Midweek with Max. It's like, wow. I think we've done this for like 10 months now, which is wild. Maybe it's 9. I don't know. I have no concept of time. Anyway, I'm Rick, as always, joined by our co-founder, Max Sanchez, Joshua, who does like everything, and our head of marketing makes his dramatic return, Phil Gomes, who's going to be coming from us live from Permissionless. Before we cut it over to him, let's kick it to Max for our weekly update.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to another Midweek with Max. Not a ton of updates this week. A lot of things moving in the background. We are activating the Pectra features on Mainnet on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you are running a full node, we've reached out to a lot of people who we know are running them, but if you're running a full node, you will need to update to latest containers from the local node repository prior to that date to stay in sync with the network. And aside from that, putting some final touches on the BIPVM white paper, so looking forward to getting that public ASAP. A lot of the teams in New York for Permissionless this week. I believe Jeff's speaking on a panel at 2:30 p.m. Eastern today. Phil, correct me if I'm wrong. So if anyone's at Permissionless, that's a great thing to... That's right, okay, 2:30. I always mess up time zones. So if you're in town for Permissionless, definitely check that out. And I'm sure there will be some social media content and other stuff around that as well. And aside from that, also working on some new work on Hemi ZK provability and working on some final testing and final fixes for the daemon refactoring for BFG and the PoPminer, and looking to get that in and deployed soon as well. So with that, I'll pass it back to Rick.
All right. I have always wanted to say this. Appearing live via satellite, Phil Gomes from Brooklyn.
That's right. Is this thing on? Yes, it is. All right. Yeah, I'm here at Permissionless at Industry City, which is a non-traditional but very inspired choice for a venue. Let's see. I don't know how to reverse camera on this. It's not letting me, so let me just do the best I can here. So you can see that we are sponsors of the registration. So the first thing you see when you come in is our logo right there. And then you'll see it here on the registration tables. Every registration table here has the Hemi logo. Boom, boom, boom. And then, of course, as part of that, we sponsor the lanyard. So all the attendees have the Hemi logo around their necks. It is hotter than hell out here. You can see everybody's going for the shade. Most of the people are inside. I mean, this is a vast, vast industrial complex. As Max said a little bit earlier, Jeff is going to be speaking at 2:30 on a panel with Stacks, StarConnect, and Core. So definitely go to the Permissionless X account. So that's at Permissionless on the artist formerly known as Twitter at 2:30 Eastern. Please do support Jeff. You are going to be able to see the panels live from that account. If not, if something goes wrong or if there's some sort of programming error, fear not, because we have a professional videographer running around with us capturing everything. I'll also say that we've got 2 very, very packed days of press. So we're going to be getting Jeff very, very busy on the press front. Our friends at Hype for delivering that. And it's been a very productive event. We've got our business team setting up meetings here. Obviously, I mentioned the press before. A lot of networking. We're going to see a lot of what that makes of the and try our absolute positive level to share curiosity amigos. So my own Twitter is really looking forward to this. Really great crowd here. But again, we're going to share everything we can share. That's right. So, with that, back to you, Rick.
All right. Thank you, sir. You got a little choppy there at the end. It sounded like you were playing a harmonica. But on the plus side, for once, I don't have the worst audio on a midweek with Max. So this is another big day for me. Because I've always wanted to say appearing via satellite, and then I kicked to someone, And now my audio is better than someone else's. This is fantastic.
My audio's that bad.
It's better now. It's better now, but
Okay.
there was like a brief period where it just sounded like you were playing the harmonica. It sounded good, like you had skills, but
I think that counts for the rap god role.
yeah, I honestly, like, someone played guitar last week, so I think harmonica counts. All right, well, thank you very much. It was great to see. Please give my best to the team.
Yeah, I got to
specifically
hop out,
big.
gang. Sorry, I've been
All
MIA
right.
for a while. I had to move countries, but I'll be back here more regularly, guys. Thanks a lot, but I do have to bolt.
Take care, brother. Stay cool, both literally and physically, because it's probably 10,000 degrees there. All right, let's get into questions. Max, if you were psychic, what question do you think was asked 8 times? And why is it when TGE?
Still no update on that. A lot of things are coming together. And so, like I said last week, non-committal date, but definitely expect a lot more information by the end of this month / very early next month. So a lot of things are coming to closure. We have not finalized on an exact date, but we are definitely narrowing in on all the details and dependencies. So definitely stay tuned for that. It is, I don't think we're at ultra soon yet. We're still at very soon, but things are moving and we're getting very close.
Right. That actually answers the next question on has the team decided on a date. It sounds like that is still a work in progress. Here's one. I will file under the hilarious / terrifying category. Can't believe I have to ask this. Will World War III affect or delay TGE?
No. It's wild that that's even a valid question.
Thank you for that one, Miracle. I appreciate the hell out of it. It's terrifying that could be a real question, but it's nice to know that we will work around the apocalypse. So that's encouraging. Are there any updates for LP and staking points not showing up?
Unfortunately, John's not able to join us. I know he did have some updates on that, and he sent some of them to me, so I'm going to try to summarize quickly here, but I'm not sure if this directly answers that question. There were some fixes on the absence side for some of the points calculations, and I believe they're rerunning some of the indexers for some of the DApps, and so some things may be disappearing and reappearing and getting updated while they do that. So I know there's things in flux there. There have been some fixes. Some things are still ongoing. And we are getting closer to real-time points showing up reliably. And just as a reminder, the true source of truth for everything is what's on chain. So if you've been providing liquidity to a DApp in a way that's prescribed by the points protocol, and you see points disappear and come back, or disappear entirely, obviously, if you see issues, submit tickets and we'll address them. But the source of truth is what is on chain. And so even if they don't show up in absent at some point in time, they are still correctly being tracked by just what's actually on chain when we do the final season closure and credit everyone for final points. That'll be based on on-chain data. And so anything not showing up in absent, assuming you are providing liquidity correctly or completing other tasks correctly, it is still being tracked, even if there is a display issue in absent at some point in time.
All right. Thank you, sir. Before we get back to the real questions, I noticed that one of our lead engineers, JCV, had asked a question. Do we have a bunker in place in which to do TGE from?
I can either confirm or deny the allegations.
Reasonable. Completely reasonable. Okay. Okay. We've actually had quite a bit of questions on this. When will Hemi hatchlings migrate to Mainnet? And would you mind explaining the general process to the amigos who hold Hemi hatchlings currently?
Yep, for sure. So as I believe we announced yesterday, the Hemi hatchlings testnet snapshot is going to be taken tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And basically the way that works is we need to take a snapshot to decide who owns what Hemi hatchlings at what point in time, and then issue those on Mainnet. And so hence the snapshot date. If you have a Hemi hatchling in your EOA and you're fine with it being in that EOA on mainnet, you don't have to take any action. If you want to transfer it so that when the mainnet conversion happens, it appears under a different EOA, now's the time to move it around. You will also be able to move them on mainnet just the same, but if you want to, say, move from a address you only used for testnet to an address that you're using on mainnet, you can do that prior to the snapshot date, and the Hemi hatchling will show up as or under your new EOA that you transferred it to when we do the issuance of the new NFTs on mainnet. And at that point in time, any Hemi hatchlings on testnet are, quote unquote dead. Like, they'll still exist. Nothing's going to, from a technical perspective, change about them. But the official ones on mainnet will be the ones that are distributed based on that snapshot. So if, and I doubt this is the case for anyone, but if you have your Hemi hatchling somehow in a smart contract, you do definitely want to pull that out prior to that snapshot date, because we're only going to be crediting addresses who have ownership of the NFT as of that snapshot date. And if it's in a smart contract, that smart contract's only on testnet, it's not a mainnet. So the NFT would either not get credited or get credited to an address that does not exist as an EOA and that you can't use on mainnet. So if for whatever reason you do have a Hemi hatchling NFT in a smart contract, pull it out, make sure it's owned by an EOA. I doubt that affects anyone, but if that is the case, you probably are aware that you've done that and know to pull it out to an EOA for the transfer. And yeah, that's the high level. So snapshot date tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then whatever EOAs own all the Hemi hatchlings at that point of the snapshot, shortly thereafter, within 24 hours or so, those will be issued on mainnet to those corresponding EOAs. So for most people, no action to take, but wanted to give people a heads up in case they're doing something strange with the NFT and it's in a smart contract or something that needs to be pulled out.
All right. I do have a follow-up to that. I gotta preempt with a question of my own. How the hell did you get multiple Hemi hatchlings? But the real question is, can I have multiple Hemi hatchlings in a single wallet, which will be migrated to mainnet?
Yep, yeah. Any EOA that owns any number of any of the Hemi hatchlings, those will all be migrated. So if you have 3 air and 1 fire Hemi hatchling on testnet as of the snapshot date, then on mainnet, when we do the reminting of the NFTs, you'll have 3 air and 1 fire NFT on mainnet under that same EOA.
All right. Okay, this is just how it's phrased. This didn't happen to me, as always. I don't know why I always have to preempt with that, but just in case, you get concerned that it's me who's going through this. I completed Deimos verification twice. Again, this is the user, not me. However, my wallet was hacked on all chains. What should I do if my wallet is hacked?
Reach out with a support ticket. I know that we've done some things for people in the past who had a hacked wallet. It's sort of limited what we can do. It depends on the situation. But for Deimos specifically, they do have a way where you can redo the verification under a new address. And so more of a question for John, who wasn't able to make it today because he's at permissionless, but I know he's handled some of the situations in the past for Deimos verification and points crediting. So submit a ticket for that, and somebody will be able to help you.
Dear God, one of my mics refused to unmute. Sorry about that. All right. How do we know points are calculated transparently? What prevents points from being changed or manipulated?
It's a good question. Also something I wish John was on for, because he'd probably have a more detailed answer to this. But basically, points for everything on mainnet and pretty much everything on testnet is calculated from on-chain data. So technically, knowing the different rewards for different activities, somebody could go and recalculate all the points if they wanted to. I doubt anyone's actually going to do that, but basically the source of truth for pretty much all points is on-chain activities, which are public. So conceivably, if somebody wanted to verify the points that they got or the overall points in any of the seasons, they could do that from on-chain data. There's some exceptions. Obviously, some of the stuff was related to interacting on social media, and so some of that, of course, has to go through a third party who verifies it and calculates the points, and then we use those. But the vast majority of points are calculated from on-chain data, knowing, in the testnet days, for example, you could get up to this many points per day for doing tunneling or this, that, the other. There is one thing, which is the linking of EOAs under one single anti-Sybil account is not public. So that could make verifying points in some cases difficult if you wanted to recalculate them. But high level, we're using a third-party provider. We're making sure that they're calculating all the points correctly. And the majority of them could be, especially for Mainnet, because Mainnet's more about economic activity versus individual activity from a desybiled user. All of that could be relatively easily calculated from on-chain data if somebody really wanted to.
Right. I got a few more questions on deck, but if anyone else has any, feel free to pop them in. Just please don't let it be when TGE. We already had 8 of those, so, and Max already answered it. Okay, here's one. When will the next engineering AMA be?
Good question. We have some people out various parts of this week and next week, so we may be able to schedule a time in the next, week-ish, but we may need to schedule around that. So definitely soon we want to get on the calendar. There's just some people's personal calendars to navigate around for getting that scheduled, but we'd definitely like to do one once we get the BIPVM white paper out there so that we can discuss that. I think that'll be a interesting discussion. People probably have good questions about that, or how our approach differs from what other people are doing, ways that our approach can be used to help other projects also building BitVM tech, whether they're in the Hemi ecosystem in any way or not. So definitely do want to get that on the calendar, but we do have some people with some vacation time in the next couple of weeks that we are scheduling around.
One of those people happens to be me, which is crazy. It's actually my first PTO in a year, I think, which is wild. I'm not doing anything exciting. Where the hell am I? There we go. Do you know the total amount of BTC spent by PoPminers?
I actually don't have that figure handy. That's a good question, though. Why don't we come back to that next week? I'll definitely run some numbers on that.
We can do that. Okay. Oh, this is mathy. I'll do my best. Can one calculate the value of a pop point by dividing the amount total? Hold on. Can one calculate the value of a pop point by dividing the total amount of BTC spent by the total amount of pop points?
Sort of, but I think the useful answer to that question is no. So from an economics perspective, you could you could at least estimate the market perceived value of a pop point by doing that math. Obviously, there's some edge cases where somebody could have, way overspent on fees, et cetera. But in general, the total amount of Bitcoin that people spend doing pop mining on mainnet could be worked backwards to get how the market's evaluating the value of a pop point. But the more useful answer to that question is no, because there's also a lot of risk and speculation based into that, and so it's pretty reasonable to expect that people are not people are not spending an amount of Bitcoin that they believe will break even on the pop points that they're mining. Whether or not that's correct depends on a lot of market forces, but high level no, and the value of a pop point, like we've talked about in the past, we can't say anything more than the pop point system is meant to simulate post TGE economics. And also on that, I'm not sure if this is a question this week, but people are asking about the updated pop payouts algorithm. So that should be live within the next, I believe last time I said by the end of this month. That may still happen, or early July, like first week of July at the worst case. But we are working on that, and we'll give everybody a heads up before that new payout algorithm is implemented.
All right. Thank you for that. I don't know why that question gave me weird, high school flashbacks. Like, if a truck's going 75 kilometers and it's carrying X amount of pop points and it crashes into something with BT.
What is the time speed velocity of a laden sparrow falling into the sun?
Basically. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It just gave me serious PTSD. Okay. Creating a liquidity pool on Sushi. Does it matter if it's on V2 or V3?
I believe liquidity on any Sushi pool should be appropriately credited. I do want to add one note there that The thing with V3 pools is anyone can create new V3 pools, and so we've had to do some work on the absence side to properly track new pools that people set up. So sometimes depositing liquidity to a particular pool won't show up points correctly. You will still be credited for those points. Any liquidity you provide in a sushi pool, you will get points for. But I do want to note that given that ability to create arbitrary pools and the fact that we need to track specific pools with addresses that are in the absence system, there are edge cases where you could deposit liquidity either into an existing pool somebody else made, or a pool that's created by some sort of liquidity management protocol or something like that, which doesn't show up until we add that pool to the absent point tracking. So you'll still be retroactively credited for the points you get for putting liquidity in those pools, but they just may not show up correctly until we add them to the absent system and do the reindexing. But for the V2 versus V3 question, you should get the same points for liquidity in either pool type.
All right, thank you. I hope my background noise isn't bad. My idiot neighbor started up his go-kart to cut his lawn for the 50th time this week. I'm not bitter.
We don't hear any of it, so whatever Mike set up you have is doing a pretty good job.
That's fantastic news. Let's see. Oh, Josh just gave me. He just fed me something. Okay, so yeah, just super quick before more questions. The Hemi tag is now available on the Discord server. You may have seen some folks with it. It's kind of a way to just like flex Hemi in other Discord servers. At least that's what I use it for. I don't know if it really has further utility, but if you want to rep Hemi in other people's Discord servers, that would be pretty cool. Also, don't forget about the builder roles and also all the creative roles we have, specifically based in content creator. Our mods can nominate people, and those roles will have some perks attached to them. Nothing that'll affect a quote-unquote airdrop. Please don't ask me about airdrops. But there will be some cool stuff attached to the creative roles. So just as a little foray. Actually, it's not a four-way into the next question. This is completely unrelated. Max, any update on tokenomics?
Not yet. Should be, like I said last week, probably expect details on that by the end of the month or very, very early July. There's a lot of pieces coming together, and we're getting finalization on some stuff, but very soon.
All right. Do we have anything else on deck, Josh? This seems oddly brief for questions. I'm just going to scroll up super quick. Any other of soon instead of very soon? Nope, we're at very soon, so that's good. Are we going on Kaido? I saw.
That is so outside my world. I know I've heard the word Kaido said like 100 times in various contexts on team calls, but that would probably be a question for either John or Ryan Charleston.
That does sound like a Ryan. Hey, I see a wild Ryan Charleston appeared. Ryan, do you want to give a little? Hey, here he comes. All right.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So yes, we're not working directly with Kaido, but we are going to do another Kaido campaign, similar to the one that we just are wrapping up on Yap.market. So look for that coming most likely next week. So hopefully that answered the question.
It's great news. So another campaign with Kaido is coming next week. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see. Joshua, we got anything else? No more questions about World War III, please. Unless it's from Miracle, because then it's funny. Well, here's another Ryan question. Sorry, Max. Yap.market isn't giving scores to participate. That's more of a statement than a question, but if you have anything to say about that, we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, so Yap.market, operates based off of the YAP score. So if you don't have a YAP score or high YAP score on Kaido, then yeah, like that's how they gate that to make sure they ensure high quality content. Um, yeah, what we're gonna do to kind of get around that or kind of help out some of the community members that might not have a score or active on Kaido is another campaign that will come post VGE with Cookie 3 and Cookie.fun, actually. So that if you've seen the Snap campaign, that's basically what we're going to be doing there. And that should hopefully open it up more broadly um, to anyone, regardless of how big or small you are as a creator. So look forward to that.
That's great news because I get 27 angry emails from the intern every day saying, "Why am I not important enough for Kaido?" And I'm like, I don't know. I ask Ryan. So if you start getting unhinged emails from the intern, that's why.
Yeah. One of the cool things that we could do with Snaps is we get to build the algorithm ourselves. Whereas like with Kaido and with Cookie, the standard programs, like they build that algorithm and they're building it to reward those that are contributing, having the most contributions towards the mind share, and that tends to favor larger creators. But since we can design our own algorithm for our own needs, we can bake into that some element of like loyalty. So you've been in the community for a long time, or you've been talking about Hemi for a while, and we can look at your the quality of your content, what you post out there, even if you have like 100 or 500 followers or something like that. So that could get factored in, and we plan on factoring those types of things into our own algorithm. So look forward to that.
Great news. See another question. This, Max, this may be more of a Greenwood thing, but any insight as to when Epoch 2 of Deimos will end?
I don't think there's any updates on that yet. So that'll work backwards from tokenomics and everything else that's coming to closure. So it'll basically be working backwards from a date that's we're still working on setting. So still open now. It should be open at least through the end of this week. More than likely open next week as well. But yeah, no new updates. But if you haven't done your verification, just go do it. Don't wait till the last minute for it. But we will give people at least 48 hours or so of notice before Deimos Epoch 2 does close.
All right. I see a question for me. When? I mean, there's no context to that. When will CM Punk win a title? Hopefully this month. When will my neighbor stop mowing his lawn? Hopefully 5 minutes ago. It's open-ended. See, if you're gonna ask a when, you gotta put like a thing to it. I don't know. It's too broad. You gotta narrow it down. I think that's the end of questions. Oh wait, hold on. Miracle's typing. We'll give this a second. Miracle, is this a question or are you going to roast me? Oh no, that's a good question.
Rick, I think we lost you. I do see the question in chat, so I'll just answer while Rick's getting back. When new NFT marketplace? I don't have an update on that. That'd be more for the BD team. I know there's definitely at least one in the works, but I don't have a status update on it. I just heard from Rick on Slack that his power went out. Maybe his neighbor with the lawnmower cut one of the power lines.
He had a good run on the mic.
It was good while it lasted. Now we don't have anyone to be entertaining. Jeremy drove the go-kart into the power pole. Oh man. Oh, we're waiting for Rick to get back online. Just a couple of quick notes for anyone who's interested on the more tech detail BIPVM side. That was kind of a teaser for some of the stuff we're going to be putting out with the new white paper and some content around it. Basically, there's a cool way to leverage Ethereum to make self-contained zero-knowledge proofs of Bitcoin state using HVM state awareness. And it lets us basically create that self-contained zero-knowledge proof of Bitcoin state to reflect back into the BIPVM ZK verification transaction graph. And so one of the issues with the original BIPVM 2 design was Bitcoin script can't see itself. And so if you write something in Bitcoin script, it can't see, what is the current block. It can't even see the current timestamp. There are some things you can do for timestamps with relative time locks, but so they introduced something called superblock light client emulation, which was a way to basically have the operator commit to a block on the canonical Bitcoin chain and then have a fault dispute process for people to challenge that. And that introduced some vulnerabilities where Bitcoin miners could potentially withhold actual superblocks that never got onto the canonical chain and then use those to ransom attack the operator. And so that whole system is needed because of that lack of Bitcoin self-introspection. And so one of the cool things with Hemi and HVM and Bitcoin awareness is that you can basically build that introspection of Bitcoin into the zero-knowledge proof that's validated. So we don't need that external system of deciding on canonical Bitcoin state to validate a ZK proof against. So a lot more details on that with the white paper, and obviously would love to have a more in-depth technical discussion on that with the rest of the engineering team when we do schedule the engineering AMA. But for anyone who is interested in some of those more tech details, that's a bit of a teaser for what we're working on and what we're going to be publishing some more details to discuss in a public forum soon. All right, Rick just let us know the power is still completely out, so I don't think we're going to be getting Rick back today. I don't know if there was anything that Rick had left. I know we were going to be joined by, I think, people from Partners. Joshua, I don't know if was that at the top of the hour? No partners today. All right, well, with that, it's an anticlimactic end without Rick, but thanks everyone for joining another Midweek with Max. And let me just, Rick sending some stuff. Oh, okay, we're going to invite Hermes on stage to talk about the Hemi Alliance program. Let's see, is he already here? Here we go. Hey, Hermes, how's it going?
Hey guys, thank you for having me. But we need to have Groover here. We were supposed to host the promotion ceremony today. Without Hiki, it might be complicated. If you guys want, we can do that like another day. But Groover has all the whole script.
Probably better to wait for Rick on that.
Yeah, no problem. We can reschedule it. I think it will be cooler if he is up here with us.
Yeah, for sure. I think we planned the event with having Rick as part of it, so definitely would rather wait for him to be able to do it correctly.
Yeah, no problem. Let's just reschedule it. Sorry, guys. You'll get promoted soon.
All right, cool. Well, I think with that, we have closed out all the questions, and hopefully we'll get the Hemi Alliance call rescheduled to sometime soon, maybe later today or tomorrow. I'm not sure what the scheduling logistics on that look like, but with that, thanks everyone for coming out to another Midweek with Max. Grover's on stage. Grover, was there anything else you wanted to add before we close up? And that we're rescheduling the ceremony? Okay, awesome. We'll get working on rescheduling the ceremony and getting everyone updated with the new time for that. And with that, thanks everyone for coming out to another Midweek with Max. Stay tuned for a lot of cool stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks, and we will see you all next Tuesday.